Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the February 3rd edition of Keeping It Real with Sheil. Normally, I just kick it around and chat about whatever is in my mind and in my heart. If you guys could only see inside my brain sometimes, I think you would run away what's in there. All kinds of wonderful craziness. But today, I changed it up and I've got a wonderful show for you with a good friend of mine, Joanette Biebesheimer. She is here to talk all about the Circadian Diabetes Code. What does that even mean? I know. I'm going to bring her on and I'm going to let her tell you all about this and this amazing program that she is getting ready to kick off right here on Keeping It Real with Sheil in a couple of weeks. Okay, so here we go. Let me bring Aloha, Joanette. How are you today?
I am excited to be here, Sheila, to have fun, to have a good time.
Perfect. That's what I like. Excitement and fun. There you go. So, you and I have talked a little bit about this. You sent me this amazing book, Circadian Diabetes Code, which I got 2 days ago, and I started to read this book. And my mind is already blown, and I'm like 25 pages in. And it's like, nobody talks about this stuff. So here we are, here you are, and please tell me first a little bit about you and your background and why you got into researching this.
Well, it's a really good question. And my whole life, I've been looking at nutrition and as a biochemist and as a family member with cancer and myself being a cancer survivor, really looking at nutrients. And it's such a polarizing place about nutrition. I mean, I'm this, I'm that, and a lot of dogma. And for me as a biochemist, a lot of that just didn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? And so the future is that we heal sequentially. Okay. And we talked a little bit about this and it just resonates with truth. We do. And there are three components to how we heal. Okay. And number one are the nutrients that we put in our body. Okay. Number two, wakeful activities. That could be exercise or how we breathe, breathing through our nose. Okay. Exposure to toxins during the day and restorative sleep. There are three: nutrients, wakeful activities, and restorative sleep. So for me, I looked at Dr. Panda's work, Dr. Sachin Panda. He published this amazing paper in 2015. And there's a book previous to this book called Circadian Code. And there's actually an app that you could go on and do if you wanted to be a part of Dr. Panda's research. And it's called mycircadiancode.org. Okay. I did that 2016. So my data is a part of his research. He's done thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Yeah, mycircadiancode.org. Perfect. And with that, in the first 2 weeks, you do your own baseline and you just see your feedogram and like how many hours a day you actually eat and like when you actually go to bed and sleep. And so you take pictures of your food. And so this app, it's free and it's research based. So you can be a part of research, but it's a really good way for people that like to measure and have a way to measure. So I did that in 2016. So I'm very familiar with his protocols, like in his science and what that looks like. And so I knew this book was coming. And I knew it was coming because I saw his research published this fall, and it was really focused on diabetes, which was a little shocking to me. I was like, oh, well, that's what must have came out of thousands and thousands of people eating within a window this is the data that came out the strongest. There's always a power to the pattern, Sheila,
Right.
of that many people, right? Well, how does that work with like what I do and my why? Okay. And so I've always been interested in nutrition and nutrients. And then I had a family member that had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And a lot of people on this call like may know that I mean, I spent a lot of time in that realm. And then I went to start studying EMF hypersensitivity and Havana syndrome and concussion-like work. And what's very interesting is that my funded research, one of the aspects is that when people get exposed to EMF and 5G towers, when they get exposed, a certain population of the EMF hypersensitive people actually have an increase in their blood sugar, and it's very quick. It's measurable. So number one, if people have EMF hypersensitivity, those are like, you could feel pain in your fingers from holding a technology, or you could have brain fog, or you have ear agitation, or you have sleep issues.
What about falling asleep in front of the computer, Jet?
Yeah, falling asleep in front of the computer, eyes burning when you're on the computer, streaming. If you watch, like if you're the person that watches a movie with your family and you're always falling asleep, that may not be you being sleepy. It's because of the total input going into your brain. Okay. So I work with Dr. Russell John Court, and he is the lead clinician of Dr. EMF. I'm the lead researcher of Dr. EMF. But I wanted to bring together why this book and diabetes and why and how we heal. And so I thought it was really interesting that people that have EMF hypersensitivity and concussion-like symptoms, their blood sugar can just spike when they get exposed to too much EMF, right? So there's the tie-in. And then there's a lot of research out there, Sheila, on UV blue light exposure at night and diabetes. So this isn't a far stretch at all. This is like the funnels coming together, okay? So I have a case study that's going to be almost 3 years of someone that has EMF hypersensitivity that came to us in a wheelchair, who is now flourishing and has an optimal life. And so I've almost 3 years of data. I will when it's published, of what we've measured: EEG, sleep, labs, cognition, balance, gait, thermography, you name it. We've done eyes, right? I have a case study, and then I also have a 28-person open pilot of people that self-identified as EMF hypersensitive people. And so from that, what came out of it, Sheila, which is the most important thing, is that it's really how we all heal. And if you're hypersensitive to sound, light, vibration, EMF, chemicals, toxic people, whatever. But
right.
It means that your brainstem, through very ancient pathways, is saying, am I safe? And so I really was uncovering all those different pathways, and how did Dr. Court get all these people better? So my work was really to prove how we got them better, and how does our body heal? Okay, and so the cool thing is Dr. Panda's work, we heal sequentially, and we heal, and we have to start with one day. And I know people want to skip, they just skip to want to be optimal, like 3 months down the road, a year down the road. But everything starts with one day. Okay, and the Circadian Code and this book, okay, is going to be a great resource for everybody that's on here to really start thinking about how we heal. Okay, and there are going to be some simple changes for people that are going to profoundly change your blood sugar. They're going to profoundly change the sinister sisters of the diabetes, other issues with diabetes, like high blood pressure, or cholesterol, or obesity, sleep issues. They're all connected. Okay.
Wow.
So we're going to bring the funnel in. I mean, I started with, my life's work of family with cancer, and then I had cancer, and then to this, my research on all these people that have symptoms from being exposed to their cell phones and EMF and how does diabetes fit, right? But the thing is that when you have dis-ease, and one of the things in this book, this helps with so many things. Like when you read this book, you're going to go, what doesn't it help with? But one of the biggest ones is inflammation. Inflammation is the root of all dis-ease. Okay?
I can attest to that. I know the difference of, I went through a program last summer, taking away that inflammation. And right now, I feel my joints because I've been eating bad stuff. Honestly, I've been paying attention because we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, you and I've been paying attention to my timeline, eating, not eating past that time. But I know, and I know Dr. Court's going to laugh and say, no, it's ginger beer. I've been drinking that damn ginger beer and my hands are inflamed. I can feel it. Mm-hmm. So, I kept my sister-in-law up there. My sister-in-law says, I'm here, but I'm driving. Welcome, everybody. I want to just welcome everybody that's popped in and is watching this show. Welcome to Joanette, my friend who is just brilliant. And she is sharing now about researching and how diabetes just goes hand in hand with the circadian code, with not only what you eat, when you eat it, and sleep. It's 3 things: nutrients, wakeful activities, and restorative sleep. So keep going, Joanette. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No. You know what? And so we've gotten here from life struggles, and then my background as a biochemist to be able to really uncover. So I study the sequence of how we heal. That is my work. And what's exciting is that if they just do this and they eat within a window, then I'm going to call it eating within your optimal window, Sheila. And this research, okay. Dr. Panda has thousands and thousands and thousands of people that went to my circadian code, my circadian clock. It's mycircadianclock.org. That's the name of the app. And you can download it, and it's the first 2 weeks are baseline, and then you get to see a feedogram of like the 15 hours a day that you eat, and then you can see when you sleep, you start seeing your baseline, and then you make a decision, or when you read the book, you can make the decision on what's the best window for you to eat. And some people call it intermittent fasting. Dr. Panda calls it TREE, which is time restricted eating. What we call it at Dr. EMF are trees, time restricted eating and electronics, because we know that we live in a world that we use electronics. We just want you to use it responsibly during the day and really to minimize the use at night, especially in your eyes, because that will directly affect your ability to make melatonin and diabetes, because there's direct and indirect research out there that UV blue light at night affects your blood sugar. So this is not a stretch. It's out there.
Joanette, one of the things that for years, light at night drives me nuts. And it could be the little tiny, I'm talking, the light this big on the DVD player that's red. And I have to tape everything up. I just can't stand light at night. And so is that because it's literally interfering with my circadian rhythm?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Well, we got that cleared. My husband isn't here, but I can't wait to tell him that.
And they're really, let's start there. Okay. Any light at night, UV blue light and EMF, will reset your circadian clock, and it goes through your eye. And so if you do that before bed, and like, let's say you look at your phone and it's a pretty big flash, or you run to Target and it's really bright. Have you noticed it's like really bright? The lux, the strength of the lights when you go out places are very bright. Well,
Mhm.
when you do that in your bedtime, it really resets your circadian clock. And it may be up to 4 hours before your brain will make melatonin. So there are some things we can do that are really, really simple, but to be thinking like getting back to the basics of really how we heal. And so we have to really be thinking about simple strategies. So simple, safe strategies that help your innate immunity to be able to heal. And
Mm.
that's what we focus on. And what are little things that you can do? So we have glasses, and so normally the reason why I don't have them on is because I had glare and it was affecting Sheila communicating with me. But I want you to know that, well, I'm only doing this because she asked, because it was distracting. But I always protect these eyes because I measure the eyes, right? I
And
measure.
and these are my blue blockers. I have blue blockers as well that I wear all the time. But again, they glare, and people complain when they watch the video.
Right. And so protecting our eyes, and thinking about that a few hours before bed, any kind of input is going to reset that clock. And there's already indirect and direct research out there saying that that's affecting making melatonin and diabetes, linked to diabetes. And so those are simple things you can do. We at Dr. EMF also have a training that I'm doing that I'm setting up, like the essential sleep, Dr. EMF sleep essentials. So we have an eye mask that's 5G that can protect up to 5G, which is 90 gigahertz. We also just have some strategies to like rinse your nose. So even in this book, he talks about you need to restorative sleep. You have to be able to breathe through your nose. And so a lot of times people are really congested. This is important to talk about because of COVID. So one of the things that is super important is that we need to breathe through our nose. Okay. Our noses are for breathing and smelling first. Our mouths are for chewing and talking. And it's a backup for breath. So the way pathogens, the way things get in are through primarily the nose and mouth and cut like hands. And so it's really important that we keep them clean. And so I'm doing a mini course that I'm going to be putting on that will be a part of the program that I'm creating. That it's just nasal education and products to be able to help you keep the nasal pathway and mouth clean and safely, and then that way, and then practice nasal breathing. And this is a really important thing, Sheila, to protect people from any pathogen.
So, Jet, I know the answer, but I know that people are saying right now. I can literally hear some of these people saying, "What does this have to do with diabetes? What is important about sleep and diabetes? Why are you telling me this stuff?"
Okay. Okay, we're jumping to the third part of the third component, right?
Oh.
So
Okay.
we have nutrients that we need for our bodies to run in a
Okay.
24-hour period to heal. Okay. And one of those nutrients is oxygen. And if we don't have enough oxygen going in at night, for whatever reason, okay, it can be obstructive sleep apnea. It could be snoring. It could be EMF. It could be temperature. All of those things affect restorative sleep. And because we measure restorative sleep at Dr. EMF, we have at-home restorative sleep studies that are approved by FDA. So we can actually do all that work. So we know when people are not getting enough oxygen because we measure their brainwave. So we can see if the EMF and the ambient environment's affecting them. Their temperature is such an important part of our health that we don't think about, but we measure thermography, Sheila, which is a really safe measure, a discovery of like how our body, it's a temperature, a picture in real time. And we're bilateral, so we should be symmetrical, but we can see patterns of inflammation and infection, like in nose and mouth, going down to our chest and breast. And so temperature is really a great measure of all health. And temperature at night, in order to get to restorative sleep, it has to drop a couple degrees. And when you eat food, okay, or drink alcohol or get UV blue light, what happens is that your brain and your body are still working. So it's harder. So it's creating heat. And so that temperature is because it's working. And what we really want to do at night is rest. And it's a different metabolism. It should be a different metabolism. It should be breaking down the byproducts of the day in both your brain and body so that it can start cooling. And once that temperature drops, because I measure temperature at night too, Sheila, so I know. So I can tell. When it drops down, then our body can go to restorative sleep and get into REM.
So what you're telling me is that if I'm going to grab this big stanky thing of Haagen-Dazs and eat it watching a movie at 10 o'clock at night and then go to bed, my body is then having to digest that food, process that light, and my rhythm is not going to be turned on correctly because I'm doing that function instead of restoring it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. I got to say, I, for years, have been not Haagen-Dazs necessarily anymore because now I live here and there's this amazing ice cream called Rosalani.
Right.
Yeah, I was one of those kids that liked to eat ice cream late at night, and no wonder. I don't have diabetes. My husband does, and members of my family do. And so,
hang on, and that's why we're here. That's really why Sheila and I are here. Is that when I first met Sheila, it was one of her whys that she cared about a family member, and she said to me, "I'm very concerned," and I never forgot that as I was getting ready to, present this program and the research was coming down. And actually, it's my first time being live on FB or anywhere because all of our work is going to be through our Dr. EMF channel, like through our HIPAA compliant platform. So this is the only place that I've shared what we have been doing. I mean, in the last 4 years. So,
I'm honored. I'm so honored to be the one that brings you out into the public and because you know what? This is critical. People's lives will change because of you, Jen. So I'm grateful that you showed up here today to talk about this. So,
well, let's talk about people that you care about. So when people on this call, like Sheila she threw out some numbers, but there's a very high percentage of people that are pre-diabetic that have no idea or are diabetic. But there are also people on this call that maybe have inflammation or cholesterol issues or uric acid this book it actually should have been resetting your circadian code, not just diabetes. Okay. I have lots of people that have good blood sugar, but their cholesterol is really high or their uric acid is high and they have sleep issues. And all of these are going to get reset. Okay. What I'm so excited about is that by changing when you eat and understanding that you pick an optimal window. And let's say Dr. Panda's research really said it's 10 hours, eating within a 10-hour window. Okay. And so that would be what, 8 to 6? From 8 in the morning, let's just throw out a time, and depending on your schedule, you can move that window. It could be 9 to 7. Okay, and so all he's really saying is eat within that window, and drink water before then. Okay, and drink water after, and really, really have a hard stop. Like your first bite of any calories, like let's just say it's 8 to 6. That's 10 hours, just for giggles. Okay. The research in his book wasn't based off of the guidance he put in here. People ate all kinds of different diets. They had some were keto, some were paleo, some were vegetarian. It didn't matter. It's when you eat within 8 to 6. But you know what? Only a very small percentage of people actually eat within that window. People think they do. People think they do. And the average person that he measured was they eat within a 15-hour window, because it's that handful of nuts at night, or that glass of wine, or that cup of coffee with sugar in the morning. That's when the clock starts. Okay?
So you're saying that even that sip of ginger beer before I go to sleep, that's going to shift that clock.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah. Okay.
And let me tell you, this is so
cool.
Wow. So with that, so only what if you choose to do the mycircadianclock.org app, and I have people that really like it, and they like to take pictures of their food and put in their food, and you can put in your exercise, and you're really documenting your baseline. I would recommend at least do the baseline so you can see really what is your fetogram. Fetogram is when you actually are eating. Okay. And it's really surprising. I mean, Dr. Sachin Panda said that a very small percentage of people eat within that window, like less than 10%. Okay. So if we can just get more people eating within this window, and you know what, Sheila, whatever, things you love to eat, and you just eat within that window, and you also take your supplements in that window.
Okay. That was going to be my next question to you. Yep. Was that, do I, because I just took my micro daily probably an hour ago. So my window, that's the first thing. Nope, I had turmeric tea an hour before that. So that would start at 8. Is that correct then? That's window.
Right.
Okay.
And so what's really fun is that if you really think about it, the other, like, you should be getting at least 7 hours of sleep, 7 to 9 as an adult. You really only have a few hours before that window that you're awake, and you only have a few hours before you should be going to bed. Okay. And so you really get to, this is why I call it eating within your optimal window. I want you to enjoy your food, and I want you to and really nourish yourself and provide the nutrients within that window. Okay. And the research is very strong, and it doesn't matter if you're on keto, paleo, vegan. I'm going to tell you right now, this science trumps all of that science. This is the science. This is how we heal.
Wow. Because, I've done keto. We've done last summer, we weren't like total vegan, but we were pretty vegetarian, some fish. Gary would do beef. And so you're saying that I'm not going to be able to go out and eat fast food 24 hours a day, in that 10-hour window. I'm not pounding that kind of crap in my face all the time. You're talking about good eating, right?
Well, what I'm saying, I would like for you to make good choices for you in that window. But I'm saying the research says it didn't matter what they ate in that 10-hour window. So
I can eat nachos for lunch.
Well, I'm saying to the research, but for diabetes, he's giving a guideline where he's worked with MDs and people that are diabetes experts, where they now have research specifically on diabetes. So they're giving guidelines here. But I'm saying his research since 2015, it's more about when you eat than what you eat.
That excites me because it just makes sense in the fact that if your body has specific time frames that it does different duties in there, because the systems are all doing different stuff all day long, right?
Yes. So I'm gonna. This is exciting. So my work isn't my work is like it's putting the pieces together of this amazing tapestry of how we heal, and it's so exciting, and the power of the patterns of all the things that I measure, and I really love different people's work. And I want to say this, Sheila, that some of these people that they've come out with books that are really amazing, or research, but it happened during COVID, so we haven't heard about them. And they should have gotten their glory, and they didn't get any. Okay, one of those books. Okay, and it's going to go back to Dr. Sachin Panda's work, which is it's all coming together. Is that what is health? Okay, and this is Dr. Sterling's work, Peter Sterling. Okay, and he's a neuroscientist of 40 years, but he walks through like evolutionary anthropology of like how we heal, and it's not like the biology term is homeostasis, that there's always like this balance. That's not how we're wired. Okay, it's predictive. It's predictive. So when you follow a 24-hour clock, okay, it becomes predictive so that your brainstem knows when the nutrients are coming in. It knows that you're going to do that, and the genes are expressed and they're connected. And then it goes, in 3 days, it goes, hey, she means it. She's really sticking to this 10-hour window. And then the genes are expressed that are more healthy. Okay. And so the body starts working. And then after 3 weeks, it's like, she really meant it. Right. And they're being expressed, like these new pathways are lining in. And then in 3 months, like synapses are changing, like, so that we know. And so Dr. Sterling's work and Dr. Panda's work and Dr. Robert Navio's work, all, they say it's sequential. And it's that 3-month window. So for most people, for any chronic dis-ease, seasonally, we'll make a big shift at 3 months. If you have chronic disease for longer than 6 months, a year, it may take 2 seasons, 3 seasons. I'm going to say it's going to take a year. I can just say, just if it's, and so numerically, like, we want to heal. Our default mode, Sheila, is healing. For everybody on this call, no matter what's gone on with you, so the research states, even for people and children that have autism and young adults in their 30s, they have reversed so many symptoms by following the three nutrients, wakeful activities, and restorative sleep. Yeah,
it's just amazing. It's so simple. I mean,
So let me go back to this. Let me go back. This is important, Sheila. Okay, because we were all taught this homeostasis. That's not how this works. It doesn't make sense. Our brain is like a governor, deciding, am I safe? Okay, and if in the 24-hour period, it's starting to be predictive, right? So it can predict and it can be really efficient. Oh, I've got plenty of time to break all this stuff down. I got the cholesterol to be broken down into the bile, and I mean, you're letting your body do the jobs it's supposed to do. Okay, it becomes predictive. So it's called predictive regulation. That's what this is. That's his life's work. And then homeostasis is if there's a crisis, like if you're exposed to EMF. Do you know what I mean? Whoa, right? Where your blood clumps and it agglomerates, or rouleau, where it stacks. That would be and so when that happens, that would be homeostasis, where there's an emergency situation, and the mitochondria and the cells are responding, and then they send signals to the neighboring cells, and then those go all the way to the brainstem and say, we got a problem. That's homeostasis. But predictive regulation, like this guy's book, okay, this is a nerdy book, by the way, but he's got great story. He talks about the on NPR, the Magliozzi brothers, and they were very funny, and they were Harvard educated or whatever, MIT educated, but people would call in about the car. How do you fix a car on NPR? Okay, and they're funny. These guys were funny. Yeah. They could fix it. But our bodies aren't like that. Okay, we have lots of stuff going on. We're biochemical electrical plants, and people don't know much about the electrical. Okay, but I measure EEG, I measure HRV, I measure your brain at night. Okay? I know we're electrical, sister. But what's cool is this helpful with predictive? Like, this is predictive. So this book is saying it's 1 day.
Okay.
Right? Let's dial this sucker in. And then the brainstem is going, I believe that. Right? And then 3 days you feel better. Because then you know what's going to happen? your pants are going to get looser just by eating in your window. Your blood
Just
sugar
by eating in my window. Just by eating in my window.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to just interrupt you briefly. This is Joanette Biebesheimer. She is my friend that is a research biochemist, brilliant, might I add. And your information is mind-blowing because we're not taught this stuff. Okay, we're not taught. We're told to take more drugs, to take more drugs, to take more drugs for diabetes. And I get the importance of don't eat sugar and all that stuff that for a diabetic person and why. But this aspect is phenomenal to understand that by having a window of time that you stay eating in, time restricted electronics, restorative sleep, the trees, and you are opening so many people's eyes right now, Jet, and I want to thank you for that. So, yeah, I just needed to give a little blurb in between in case people are coming in and saying, what's going on? And we're
let's keep it simple. Yeah, let's keep it really simple. I want you to enjoy your food. I want you to take your supplements twice a day, because then it will have an optimal window for it to be able to disperse throughout the day and night within your window. Okay. And start there. And so one of the things, I had some questions because I had some people I was talking with and they were concerned about eating within their window because they have seizures. Okay. And I said, well, when are your seizures? This is a really good question. And it's 7 a.m. They always happen in the morning. And I know that's circadian. That's circadian. So one of the things that we do at Dr. EMF is I have put on our website a place for you to be able to do an at-home, because after I read this book, I wanted to be able to, like, how can people implement this simply so they don't rely on their doctor? Like, we're only your guide to help you towards pinnacle health. And so we have an at-home blood test that you can be able to measure. It's not much, but during this measure, I said, you know what? We don't guess at anything. Okay. So what we measure is not just blood sugar, fasting blood sugar in the morning. Okay. We measure cholesterol. We can measure your ketones and we can measure uric acid. And so, so that's on there. So there's a link on there, and just be sure and it's really easy to use. Like we have a little video. We show you how to measure. And then that way, when you have this book, you're measuring at home. So get a scale, step on the scale, write down where you are, take your circumference of your waist at your belly button. Okay. And then test your blood sugar. Yourself. Take back the control. Okay. I mean, it's too long. We've given the power to other people. Like, am I healthy? What is health?
Yes. So LaFern, a very close friend of mine, is asking, how does this differ from the trend of fasting?
Well, there's a lot in this book. So Dr. Panda goes over and by the way, Dr. Panda knows more about circadian rhythm and time restricted eating than, I'm going to say he's the pioneer in his field. There are people that do great work, but he's leading the way. He talks about, I've looked at the 5 and 2. I've looked at all kinds of things. Fasting is, first of all, it's a negative connotation on words. It's negative. Being someone that's an expert on, Sheila knows it's just, when it comes to research, intermittent fasting can be used interchangeably with time restricted eating. The strongest research with the biggest number is really Dr. Panda's work. And it's really, I'm reframing it. You pick the optimal window for you, your optimal window. That's the first thing you do in this book. Skip to the chapter and go, when do I want this to start? When would this, and then choose 10 hours. Don't even try to do 8. Just do 10. 10 is optimal. people lower their blood sugar in like 3 weeks, you see huge changes. You feel better. Your pants start getting looser just by eating within your window. And if you're unsure, like if you have like epilepsy or obstructive sleep apnea, or you just have concerns about, can I do that? Can I go that long? Check your blood sugar. Check your blood sugar, and it will tell you. Do you know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that I want to empower you, that you can do that fasting blood sugar, and you'll know.
So, can you share with me, with our guests, or all the people out here listening? I don't need names because of confidentiality, but you were talking to me about a 72-year-old client you have and the number drop in 3 weeks.
Yes. And so this person, I gave him this book. So they came and they're patients, and for a week-long care. Okay. And I gave him this to empower him, because, we make their food. When somebody comes to us for a week, we have restorative sleep on them. We already have a lot of information on their labs and their food intolerances, and we measure a lot of things so that when they're actually on with us, Sheila, Dr. Court can really do his work, because all of those ancient pathways are dialed in. We know which ones are causing the inflammation, right? And so they're already well on their way. Their nutrients, their evidence-based nutrients, whatever they needed, they're measured, and so he can do his neurological work. And so I gave him that. He read it in one night. So he's 70 years old. He read it in one night. He's an engineer. And he goes, I don't really love all the food they have in there, because he eats pretty good. This guy eats pretty good. Good. He eats good. And he goes, and I go, you don't have to. I want you to eat within your window. Can you do that? Take your supplements within your window, your first meal and your last meal. Yeah, I can do that. He goes, my number was like 300. And I'm like, oh, whoa. He goes, I really need to get that looked at. And I go, you do? Because, when you're above 126, that's the number that you have diabetes, right? And he was on it for 3 weeks, and it went down to 202. Just eating within a window.
100 points. And he did not eat differently, just different time, correct?
He didn't even follow, because there's some things in there. He just goes, I really don't like that. And I'm like, that's okay. Because he eats a lot of salmon and vegetables. And I'm like, just eat what you eat and eat within your window. And if you're going to be on electronics, especially near bedtime, I want your eyes to be protected. That's the other thing. And he already knew that. Okay. But because you can get the food put in, taken care of. But if you're getting that blue, you're looking at your phone right before bed. This is very strong research for everybody on this call. This isn't someone out there kind of going, does the EMF really affect our brain? I'm just telling you, there's already published research out there, both indirect and directly, that it will lower your melatonin, and by exposing, a bright light to your eyes before bed, and you will have blood sugar issues. And there's going to be more and more research. So it's not a far stretch. It's like the research is already there. So a simple thing is minimize your exposure, and really think about that. Think about putting that blue in at night. Exposure. That's all I did.
That's just amazing. And it is so amazing to me. And, Gary and I have talked about it, and I said, babe, Dr. Court have this program coming up, and we need to talk about it. It's 10:43. We got about 17 minutes left of our time, just so you're aware of what's going on. But he's very excited to start the program, to read the book. And I told him, we both, between us, we have, 19 days to both read this book. We're voracious readers. He said, well, what do you mean I got to restrict my TV and stuff before bed? And I said, Gary, you know what? It's like when we were in our late 20s, and we would take a book in the bedroom and we would read the last hour of being in bed versus watching television at night and getting all that imprint, So tell us what you've got coming up.
Okay. Well, let's talk. There's actually receptors in our eyes called melanopsin, and it's very sensitive to blue light. Okay. It's very sensitive. And this isn't a stretch. Okay. This is like, just protect your eyes. And you want to know, I want to say this. This is really important. I've been very concerned about the eyes for the last 4 years because we measure EEG and vision processing, pupillary reflex. We actually even measure toxins through vision contrast in your eye. And
Wow.
I was seeing young people that I tried it, I do an EEG and they're like this. Their eyes flutter and I can't get a read. Okay, I can't get a read. And I'm very concerned about what I'm seeing in the eyes. And then with thermography, we can see the temperature of your eyes should be like a blue-green, and it's a healthy color. And I'm seeing all these people like with red and white, which is the hottest. I'm like, why are their eyes so hot? That's inflammation. That's free radicals. What's going on? Okay. And we're seeing a lot of issues. And people on this call, I know a lot of you probably do feel headaches. And if you, from being on the computer and cell phones, but I'm going to give you a tip. If you have pain right here, this, can you see, Sheila, right here, this occiput? Okay. If that's where your pain is at the end of the day, that's computer. That's computer. It's the back that goes through here. And so just start wearing like your protective eyewear when you're on the computer, especially at night, because we're really wired to the sunlight and the different light, and it really does make a difference.
So I'm gonna throw a shameless plug in here because you're talking about protecting yourself with the computer, and I want people to see one of the things that I have is this is a piece of organite. I have one glued onto my computer, and organite is what the eggs are that you and Dr. Court have that I sent, and organite helps also with computer. And when I have my organite on my computer or around it, I don't have that. I used to literally be on the computer for an hour and I would find myself with my head on it, and I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, what the hell just happened? I'd look at my watch and I'd say, Jesus, I was asleep for an hour. What the hell? So that is all part of this effect when we're having this on. You're talking about all these things, these systems are all, it's a compilation, and this 1 10-hour window may free us and heal us if we pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow. It's like magic, Jet. I know it sounds so simple. Let's do this.
And you know, what's exciting is it is simple, and I want you to enjoy your food, and I want you to get your nutrients in. And these are back to basics. These are simple strategies. And so what's next is I've got a couple things. And so we have one of my mentors who has over 260 peer-reviewed works and many textbooks. Here's one of the textbooks that I have. Okay. This is what's taught in medical schools on nutrition. And Dr. Kedar Prasad actually has a brand new paper out. He is 86 years young, and he has many peer-reviewed papers that he's just done in the last 2 years, but one on diabetes. And I just sent Sheila. And so it's so exciting that Dr. Kedar is going to be on Sheila's channel. And he on the 10th at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we're going to be, I'll be co-hosting because I know Dr. Prasad really well. But the reason why is we have something coming up where Sheila's in Maui. And so Dr. Prasad will be in Maui. And we have an event coming up in April. So I'm just going to plant a little seed in early April. She's going to be giving more of that. So people are like, when can we learn more? And we want to do this in person. And so if you're in Maui in the first week of April, you're going to get to hear more from Dr. Prasad and the event that's coming. So we're planting that seed. But next week on the 10th, right, we're going to have Dr. Kedar Prasad on to talk about diabetes, his latest paper on diabetes in 2022. And how we can use micronutrients twice a day within that 10-hour window to help be able to reduce diabetes. And I want you to know there are so many islanders. So in this book, you're going to find out, that age and males have a higher percentage, and ethnicities, Hispanics and islanders, and they just have a higher propensity genetics wise. And so, do you know, Sheila, I do genetics. So I do food analysis. And so if people need more, like, let's say we do this and you don't, like, why are my numbers not lowering 100, like, my 70-year-old male that did in 3 weeks? Well, maybe because you eat certain foods that cause inflammation, and we might need to reduce them. So they're and maybe you need to reduce your EMF exposure at night. Okay, so
Right.
we work on that. And you know what? We do have genetics. And what? Just because you've been handed your genetics, you have all these things now within this 10-hour window that you can start turning on the good genes to heal. No matter what hand you've been given, no matter where you are today, if you have really high inflammation or high blood sugar and you're not sleeping and you don't feel good and you don't know what to do and you're stressed out, this is like the simplest thing for you to be able to do that. I mean, to really honestly feel better. And you're going to lean out. Like I've probably lost over 10, 12 pounds, and I eat good. And so I'm just eating within my window. And that's what happens.
So my sister-in-law, Sandy, has asked, can you explain what the protective eye care is, please?
Yeah. You need to, there's a specific receptor in your eye called melanopsin, and it's really sensitive to the blue range of the electromagnetic frequency band, the blue. And a lot of our technology has blue in the screens. And so you need to have protective eyewear that will block that blue range. And so you can get that by UV blue blocking glasses. And that Dr. Court recommends 50s during the day. When I'm on the computer, I always have hundreds on, 99%. And we have them at Defender Shield. So we have it on our website. You can be able to do that. Dr. Court is the chair of the Science and Medical Advisory Board for Defender Shield. But we just really want you to wear blue blocking glasses. I have some, and what I like about mine, okay, is that I can change mine out. So right now these are hundreds, but I can take them off, and then I can do my 50s. So I can be able to do, I can do both.
And so these are 50s from Defender Shield that my sweet friend Anna.
Those are styling. What color are those frames?
They're blue.
They're cute.
Aren't those adorable?
She's got some swagger.
Yeah.
So for me, this is what I use. Okay. And Dr. Court, I mean, this is really important. And I want you to know what I've seen in the clinic. I've seen people's eye flutter normalize so that they don't do that anymore by just protecting their eyes. Okay. It's reversible. This is all you can. And they were very severe. And it was very troubling for me to look at that. And I want you to know it's part of the reason that I got the research funded is that I fought really hard for everyone's eyes because I didn't like what I was seeing. And then at night, we have a 5G eye mask that you can go to Defender Shield. Or I actually have some training that it's going to be a part of Dr. EMF where I'm going to be just talking about simple strategies for eyes. But I want you to know I've worked on that with them for a couple of years. And as soon as you put them on, it's just very calming. And the reason why it's so important at night is that that's when we heal. And even the littlest thing, like Sheila said, this little tiny baby light bothers her. Well, all of it does. The electric field's in your wall. So one of the things you can do is anything that's plugged in your wall by your bed, even if it's not turned on, is creating a field. Unplug everything. Unplug everything by your wall. Get your cell phone out of your bedroom. Turn off your router and allow your brain to rest and wear an eye mask. It makes a very big difference in that.
The
Go ahead.
I'm. Can you describe it? What is it? Is it heavy? I mean, what's it
Oh no.
like?
And you know what? Everybody in our house has one, and I was going to bring it down. It's a
You're all
it's
upstairs.
a little black. It's very comfortable, and it took 2.5 years to make. So it's like I think it's the best on the market. But the reason why people that have EMF hypersensitivity, people that have eye issues, that migraines, like when you put it on, you just instantly what it does is it calms down your brain. And because your eyes are connected to many of your cranial nerves. And so what happens is it just stops that input and
Wow.
90 gig. Okay. And so you just feel calm. I mean, you just instantly. So even during the day, I've got people that have EMF hypersensitivity, and on their lunch break, they go and they wear their mask just to calm it down.
I was just going to say, if I have a friend across the street that gets migraines a lot, and so she could just put that on during the day, and it may help relieve some of the
It,
pain.
it will relieve it. It will definitely relieve it. But migraines have a really strong genetic component. Migraines can be up to 64% genetic. That's why migraines are very difficult for people to treat, because they do have a real specificity to their genes.
Okay.
Because a lot of them have looked at food, and they've looked at certain triggers, but what's exciting is that let's start looking at how we heal. So I would just recommend this 10-hour window to eat. Okay. I would say choose your optimal window for you to eat, and choose your optimal window to sleep. But that's the next step.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So, what else do we got? Let me go back to my little banners here because I know we talked about a couple of different things. So, we just, real quick again, next week on Keeping It Real with Sheil, Jet is going to co host with me, and we are having Dr. Kedar Prasad come on. That's 6 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Hawaii time. And
About
there isn't a
diabetes.
can hardly wait for this. This is going to be really
And I
exciting.
sent you, and we'll have this up for everybody. I sent Sheila Dr. Prasad's latest paper on diabetes. It just went to print. Okay, so this is really exciting. So then you'll have the nutrients that his life's work of to take twice a day that's been proven to balance your blood sugar. So
Super excited about which I'm already doing it. Gary and I are taking those twice a day, microdaily EMF. Okay,
isn't it
now
cool? That's his research. It's twice a day. So you can see how it's all aligning. Like you need to have the nutrients. Not very many supplements say, when do you take them? They do that with
right,
medications though, but that's how we operate. And so a lot of the tests I do, blood work, they're circadian. So if you measure your blood sugar, it's different in the morning and night, or after you eat, or, and uric acid or cortisol or all those. That's what I do. Okay. And so our bodies are designed to heal. Okay. And so once we look at day one, which is circadian, how we heal in one day, and we do that for one day, and then we do it for 3 days, then what happens is our genes really do say, hey, she means it. Right. And then they express. And then all of a sudden you just like, I feel better. Like, are you serious? Is it this easy? Yes, it is this easy. And so what I'm offering, and this is really exciting, we're going to be offering a free program. And my whole team was like, you're doing what? And I'm like, we have to offer this for free. And so it's going to be resetting your circadian code with our team at Dr. EMF. And it will be a 12-week program, just like the book. And we'll be able to educate you. And so we're going to kick it off on February 22nd at 6 p.m. And it'll be live. And it's going to be on our Dr. EMF platform. And it'll be a HIPAA compliant platform. And so if you don't see us on like YouTube, I think we have one video out there. The reason why, okay, is that we have a HIPAA compliant platform where the people that they can come in and we can be able to educate for free, and we can share like labs or information in a safe manner. It's secure. So that's why you're not going to see us out everywhere, like on BitChute or other places. All of our stuff is on our safe platform, and you're all welcome. It's free. But there is a caveat, okay? I only have spots for 200. And the reason why, the people that actually join, and so you go to the products and services page, you can either book a discovery call with me, which is free. It's a 15-minute call, or you can go and just click on the reset your circadian code, and you're going to hold your spot. And because you're going to be a part of my research. So I've got research that's coming up, and the 200 people, the first people will be free because they get to be a part of the next phase of the work we're doing. So
Wow.
the first time I just put that out there, but after that number, this program won't be available. Like this is for this time.
This is it. So I have to tell you right now, Jen, that number isn't 200 because you got me and Gary in there. So it's 198. Only 198 people left, and probably, possibly, I can't speak for 100%, but I would love my sister Sandy to be in that group too. So it's really important, everyone. Get this book, okay? It's everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I don't even know the bookstore names anymore. But get this book, Sachin Panda, the Circadian Diabetes Code, and read it before February 22nd, because that's the night that Jet and Dr. Court, I'm going to be there. This is going to get kicked off, and let's find our way back through healing ourselves versus drugging ourselves, right?
Well, and Sheila, we're going to be your guide, and we're going to be able to use this book as a good framework, but we're going to be able to talk about how we heal. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to end with this. A is for alignment. Align means many things. Align with your circadian code. Okay. Align with Sheila's work, your soul's purpose. Okay. For me, it's biochemistry, circadian code. For Dr. Court, it would be alignment, because a lot of people, why they can't get restorative sleep, or they have obstructive sleep apnea, is they have forward head posture, or their head's on sideways. So alignment means many things. Okay. B is for breath. We must be breathing through our nose. Okay. We breathe through our nose during the day and night, but it's hard to breathe through your nose if it's stuffy. It's always filtering. Its job is to filter. So we're going to have strategies to help educate on rinsing your nose safely. Okay. And how to breathe through your nose. So B is for breath, and C is for your circulatory system. And because it's about healthy blood, right? And your heart. And so ABCs, and that's what we're going to be really focusing on getting back to the basics to help your body heal.
Wow. Well, I am there. Okay. ABC, that's what we're doing. And I'm super excited. So I want to just say thank you to you, Jet, so much for taking this hour out of your busy schedule. I know you are super busy, but you have blessed me, and you have blessed everyone that's been listening. And those people, I know that I pick weird times because I'm out here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and got a weird time zone for things. But I know that people will come back and watch the replay. And so you have done a huge service to humanity by just taking this time with me, and what you and Dr. Court, Dr. Prasad, Peter Sterling, Sachin Panda, all these people that have been researching, they do it for humanity. They do it for me. They do it for you. And I'm grateful. So with that, we're going to say goodbye to Jet, and I'll see you back in the green room if you hang around for a few minutes with me. Okay, Jet?
Thank you, everybody. And you know what? Lastly, this is really simple. Okay. You could do it. You really can do it. It's really simple. Eat within your window.
You can do it. All right. Thanks so much, Jet. Wow. This has been phenomenal, you guys. I literally, in this moment, have goosey bumps up and down my legs and my body. And that's always a sign for me personally of like taking on high vibration, new knowledge, being blessed. Just what a blessing that if we could just figure this out. 10 hours a day, eat in your window. 8 to 6, 9 to 7. Let's do it one day at a time, right? I love you guys. I'm grateful that you hang out with me. Thank you so much. And join Jet and I next week on Keeping It Real with Sheil as we bring you Dr. Kedar Prasad. Now, tomorrow at this time, 10 a.m. Hawaii time, noon Pacific, and 3 East Coast, it is Freedom Friday, and it is time to tap away the crap, right, with the emotional freedom technique. I'll get a post up. I want to hear what you guys want to tap away, what conditions, limiting beliefs, negative emotions. What do you guys got that you want to get rid of? Thanks so much for being with me here today. I love you all. Mahalo, and we'll see you next week. Bye.